Guys, so I'm back, and now I'm going to do one of the readings that, in a way, that I knew I would eventually do, and that, in a way, I dreaded doing because I was like, I don't, it's like kind of really scary to me. And I'm going to do Robert Mercer. And Robert Mercer is the main donor who basically made Trump happen. He owns part of Breitbart. He owns Cambridge Analytica, a firm that's connected with all the Facebook targeting, voting, the whole voting targeting, voter suppression. So I feel like it's like I feel like almost like he's the mastermind behind all this because he put the money up for all these like issues, and at the same time he must have some sort of connection with Russia or whatever. I don't know what it is. So so I'm doing him now, and I just want to say before I go start the reading that my perspective about Robert Mercer might be a little bit different from others because I have this tarot thing is not my job. It's not what I do professionally, and what actually I've been working on for a while is sort of related to linguistics and computers. So part of it is related to that. But so anyway, basically for that reason, Robert Mercer is important and interesting to me in a way, but he's also really scary because I understand his influence in what we've seen happen in terms of hate speech, and I can see how his knowledge of um, I don't know, say so it says a very light way to say his knowledge of computers. It's not that. It's like he understands the relationship between language, mathematics, and emotions. Because you probably don't know this, but he's very well known and very respected as one of the founding fathers of computational linguistics. He worked at IBM in the 70s, and his research. I feel like he has prizes like Lifetime Achievement Award at some like computer museum. I don't remember exactly. I've read this before, but basically he's very smart, and he understands, like I said, language. He understands numbers, and he has a hedge fund now. It's a quant hedge fund, so that means basically he uses algorithms, or so he says. Like there's some other controversial reporting that says that he uses a lot of leveraging, a lot of debt to buy and sell positions. But anyway, this is too technical and not. It's kind of goes off track. But some of the things that I'm going to discuss in the readings have to do with his background. So I feel like it's important to know, like, not just who he is, but where he's coming from a technical perspective, and why his role is important. Like why, what has it done to the Trump campaign that other Republican campaigns, for example, would not be able to do, or like what is so special about him? And I think you could say that the connection to hate speech, to bots, to the use of social media, that's very much a Robert Mercer influence. So we're gonna, like, this came up in the reading already, so I just want to give this background, even though it might sound kind of convoluted and a lot of information, but that's the background. Okay, so let's start with Robert Mercer. Okay, so we start at the center of the reading, and the center of the reading says, okay, here's Knight of Pentacles and a house, the White House. So this tells me very clearly that he's the money behind the White House. Okay, this is the house, obviously, to me. Anyways, this is the White House, and he's like he wanted to make this permanent, or like the goal, or like this is about really putting an anchor on the White House, like literally like his ideas or whatever his beliefs were. But this is an interesting card to come up underneath, and I will see more as the reading progresses. It's almost like this. So this is a card of financial problems, like poverty. Okay. So what I could almost see as if like his role in bankrolling the White House, right? Like literally like giving money to the Trump campaign is his downfall. Okay. Because this is the center. This is like the central message. So that's if I read this pretty literally, that's what I get. Okay, he's like almost like the quest to the White House has led to or will create some sort of like financial problem. Okay, so that's the center. And so going backwards, and again, I feel like a lot of the things I've read a lot about him, and what I'm going to say probably reflects that, okay, to a degree. Um, so, okay, so we have here, this is a card of family values, a happy family, upside down, okay? And I feel like in the context of the reading, and I've seen this card before for, I think it was either Jeff Sessions or like Mike Pence, somebody like one of those like kind of like like family values type people, but it's like turned around. So I feel like it's like the wrong, like the family values, right? Like he wants to create this like false idea of family values or something. And here's a mountain. So it's like mountain means long-term problems, like a long road. Like it could also be a long quest. So in a way, you could almost read it like his long-term quest to turn family values upside down, right? To create his own version of what he considers to be family values, which is not really what family values are about. Okay. And here's like a person who's like almost like at the end of the rope, like really just huffing and puffing and like really like wants to make it happen. But because it's upside down, I get the feeling that he really is like he would do anything to make it happen. Like he's like huffing and puffing. He'll do it anyway. Like he's gonna like almost like the image I have is like a tank barging through. So he'll do anything to like get that vision done. It's a mountain. It's very difficult. And there comes the woman. Okay. Now, obviously, this could be any woman, but I've talked about this in other readings. This woman card came up a lot in reference to Russia, I feel like. Okay. So I feel like the woman is actually Russia. Okay. Just because contextually, I feel like this is a series of readings about this whole situation, and I can't ignore that. Of course, I know that he has a daughter. It could be the daughter. It could be many things, but I just feel like that's what I feel like, and I have to follow their intuition because that's what this is all about. Okay, so again, it's like reversing family values, like a long quest to reverse family values, and he's like so willing to get it done that he'll go anywhere, and that comes Russia. Okay, and I feel like maybe his alliance or his goal or like this thing happens like when he realizes like how hard it would be to achieve his goal, he makes these alliances probably. Okay, this is just the first background information. Okay, so then the second row of stories is this like the Fool, so like a new journey for the man. Okay, so this is I feel like this is probably Trump. Okay, like he is like he because well, it's not controversial to say that like Trump is a fool, right? Like in a way, like he is like kind of like a clown, and it's also like it's a new journey. It means a lot of different things. It means a child, but it means something new, a new start. So it's like his money, like his quest is to put this person in the White House, okay? And you have your like an isolated spiritual person, somebody who's by himself a lot, and I feel like this is him, okay? This is Mercer. He's the guy. He's like he's supposedly very not sociable and stuff like that, which is fine. But like he brings the light into the man. Like he creates, it's almost like, sounds crazy, but like he creates the man. You know, he brings attention to him, to this man, okay, a new journey to him, okay. And this leads to the present. And if we read like the cards, especially I'll just read the top one here about this like 3-layer task to get to the White House. So we have here in the top row, we have the tough journey ahead of turning family values upside down. We have the new beginning with this man. And finally, we have the money behind the White House. Okay, so succeeds, okay? And then underneath we have like, he'll do whatever it takes. And here's probably Russia. I'm thinking it's Russia. And then like, he's isolated, almost like he's behind the scenes, like really, but mostly isolated from the world, Normid, right? So it's like, but he brings light. He's like, I just think of an image of a person looking at a map, like a general, right? Like looking at a map, like this is how we're going to attack, here's what I'm going to do it. So, and then he makes it happen. He makes it, I don't want to say permanent, it's not exactly how it is, but it comes at a cost, right? Like we say here that the anchor is generally positive. It means a long time, but it means that he arrived. Like if you start at the mountain, right? Like what's the goal of the mountain? Get to the top and then you get an anchor. In a way, you could feel like he achieved it, but then he has here this very bad financial card. So maybe he loses money as a result of getting the man to the White House, okay? And I know this is, you may not know this, but there's a lot, like the IRS is suing him for $7 billion. Okay, so it's like, hello. Like, can you imagine if the IRS were suing you for $7 billion? That's crazy. And I feel like a lot of these people, he's not the only donor who's like this, but they don't want to pay taxes at all. And their goal is to destroy the IRS. Like, I'm not kidding. And that's why this whole tax thing is so important to them, because they just don't want to pay taxes at all. I don't know. That's them. It's not up for me to judge. It's just that's their goal. Okay, so we have so then moving forward, there's like 2 columns for the future. The first column is the judgment, okay, and coffin. So a judgment comes to him, a result of something, and that brings an ending. Okay. I don't know what judgment it is or what kind of ending. It's like he's 80. So like I think he's like 79 or 80 or something like that. Like I was like, oh my God, could he die? Like I don't know. I just feel like an ending of some sort comes to him. And actually, just today in the news, he put out a statement for the first time, saying that he's stepping down from being the CEO of his hedge fund. So could be related. I don't know. But now the interesting thing, I think, to me, it's more was reversed. The more interesting thing that came underneath here is that, again, the key card, and like I said, like I said in the last reading, this happened too. The key card came, but I don't think it means that he's collaborating with Miller. And in a way, I mean, it makes no sense. Like it's up, like if you owe $7 billion to the IRS, regardless of whether it's like, it's positive, it's fair or not fair or whatever, the only collaboration they want from you is money, right? Like, it's like whatever you say doesn't matter to them. Like they're like, whatever, dude, give us your money. You owe us this money. So anyway, so like here the key, and I feel like this is like really important in the context of a whole election and the methods. So I looked up this card again, and it's like crazy, because it was like, it said a person who is very aggressive, like a bully, who doesn't care about other people and will be very critical of others, and is always very pessimistic and very negative. Okay, so it's telling, when the key card comes up, it tells me, okay, this is really important and this is key. And if you look at the whole issue surrounding the election, not just Trump and everybody who works for him, everybody constantly being hateful and hate speech, is that, and this is something I've studied myself, so I have to be honest about it. I have to bring to share that the issue with hate speech is that it's repeatable and that it's been programmed to like a lot of the bots and a lot of the comments. The discourse was changed. This whole bullying aura, or the whole like, oh, we're so divided, blah blah. It's like it was something that was programmed, selected to create this emotional atmosphere, right? Like it's not coincidental. It's not that there's like all these horrible, hateful people. It's that if you have a computer program that can make bots say these things over and over and over again, you're going to almost win the discourse, right? You're going to say, well, um, you're going to have an advantage, whether we like to hear that or not, because we're not at a point yet where we have thought very deeply about the consequences of hate speech, right? There's this whole like, oh, freedom of speech, blah, blah, blah. That's like they use it to create this like air of animosity. Okay. So anyway, so he's key to this hate speech, I think. And I know personally, so this is why I feel like I have to say this, because like I know how important he is to linguistics and to programming. So I know he's not an idiot. He knows exactly how these things are done, and he's probably responsible for that to an extent. Okay, that's my feeling, and the um the um the connection that I can't turn it off, and I can be like, oh, I wonder what that means. I feel like I know what that means. So the other thing that's interesting here is that this is a bouquet it's a gift, is an offer, making a decision. Like he was like kind of doubtful, but he made a decision to accept an offer from a place abroad. So I mean, from the foreign country or foreign power. Okay, I don't know if it means that. And I'm thinking, okay, does it mean that he's going to travel abroad? He's going to leave the country? I just feel like this is just telling me the story about him. That because of all these like issues that he wants to accomplish, he decides to connect with the foreign power. He takes the gift from the foreign power. He makes the decision to take this gift from them. Okay, and that's how it ends. So like, I'll just show you a few more of these cards, like why I think his connection to Russia. These two cards were together. Okay, so this one came first. So it's saying that this one here, the key to, like, he's the key to Russia, or like, also you could read that. What's the key to? The key to Russia. So if you feel like, if I know what he does, like I know Cambridge Analytica, this data firm that works with psychographics. It's like very complicated, but it's like psychographics. He understands how to read human emotion from text content, right? It's like, I don't want to get into details about data science and linguistics, and it's not relevant to this, but basically, if I think of like, he's key to hate speech, right? To bullying and all of those things, right? This is like, in a way, I feel like this is like, he connects the hate speech in a way to Russia, right? So in a way, again, I can't deny that, like, because I know that these troll farms, a lot of them are based in Russia, and I understand how he's related to linguistics, and I understand that what the reading's saying, that he needed to align himself with them because he needed more power, like to create the linguistic atmosphere, if you will, that would enable like victory to his ideas, right? Like not just a candidate, but he changed the entire atmosphere. It's not just about Trump. It's about this whole like dividing people and like creating an atmosphere of hate. That's a consequence of repetition too. Okay. All right. So that's the first part for Robert Mercer. All right. So this reading, so when I did the reading, oh, it fell. Hold on a second. Something fell. So it was just a few cards fell. So I did this reading was long. I just did the first part, and I like in the same reading, I put like two connected spreads. And I right away, I was like, am I going to do this or not? Like, am I going to ask about, do this spread about the legal consequences, right? And I was like, you know what? I don't know. Is he going to be indicted? Well, and I was like, you know what? Hello. Like if I know this, I'm not like some like super, like, I'm sure that these things have crossed the minds of the investigators. And if they're looking into the role of Facebook and everything, I'm sure they will look into this, even if they don't they decide to not do anything. Okay, so that's what is important. It's that that's why I feel like I was like I'm going to go ahead and do this because I just feel like I knew that his role is so complex that he can't, like, I can't just one is not enough. So I'm just doing the second part about the actual, like, how I've said this before, but I'll just go over the structure of the spread. So there's three rows to the I call it I guess the legal spread. The first one deals with Miller and how does Miller see this person? How does Miller approach them? Right? What's his legal angle? How does he place the person in the story? The second row is what does he tell Miller? Like, how does he respond to the things he said? Okay. And the third part is what happens to him after. Okay. What happens to him? What's the story? What's the story after all of this? Okay. All right. So getting started here. Okay. So I just want to bring out these cards just to show you. That makes sense. So the first set here is the Queen of Wands and the Rider. It's funny, the Rider never comes. I've never seen it. I think maybe once or something, but I don't really see this card come up very often. So it says, like, literally, this is the person's like mother, has like a motherly energy. So I feel like he's the mother to the news. And if you think about like all of the news, like the whole like fake news scheme, all of those like memes or whatever, they're very coordinated. They're not, they're made to look casual, but they're not. Okay, like, so maybe he's like the mother to them, like he gave birth to these news or these ideas. Okay, and here's the sun and the garden. He made them public. This card is a card of public things, but it's also the card of social media. So he created these news and he put them on social media. He brought the sun into them, right? So it's like he created them, he put them, he brought them to light via social media. And this is the like winning. He won the reputation. So you could say that the story that Miller is going to tell him or his own lawyers is that you are responsible for the whole weaponizing of, you know, of these, like, the idea of these news, this constant stream of information in social media, and you are responsible for making the man win, and you're responsible for improving his reputation, creating a reputation such that he ended up winning. Okay, that's how I read it. And then how he talks back to Miller. Like, what's the story that he tells Miller? Because this is the moment where a person can collaborate or not or whatever. And so interesting. Like, I feel like it's just like, I find it like almost like hard to believe, but really interesting. I feel like he really tells the truth, right? Like he talks about his motivations, and I feel like here's a person who's disappointed. So he's disappointed at the way things were going. It wasn't as bad, but he was a little disappointed. And so this is a card of like a sudden opportunity. So an opportunity comes for him, some sort of opportunity. And what is it for? To work diligently on secret. So he commits to working secretly, okay, He sees an opportunity through this a secret opportunity to end something. This is really bad, like a final ending. What is this? The government. So like he tells them that this is an opportunity for him to work secretly to end the government. Okay, this is like it's literally like I'm not being interpretive like about this. I'm just stating what the opportunity, secret opportunity for the government. Okay, like meaning government as an institution, right? Like he is scheming, working. This is like a card of work, working on one goal, working on the goal to destroy, to bring the government to an end. Like, and in a way, if you look at Bannon, that's what he's saying all the time. It's like, oh, I hate, the government, like, blah, 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 all this stuff. But essentially, that's why I feel like he's done it. And in a way, it's like you could say, well, why? I expected there to be more information about finances. Okay, like more like, or like communication with like more proof of the Russia thing, whatever. But like it seems here that it's more of like a ideological debate. Like the whole his case is going to be about the role of social media, the whole of hate speech, and his money in making all these things together. He connects everything, I think. Okay, from especially from what I'm seeing here. So like he made temperance is a card of balance. So like almost like this is like, and this is the final, I'm going to talk about the final row now. So it's like, what is the final story? So like almost like very deliberately he made a deal. Like he was like a general, if you think about it, right? Like he looked at things very coldly, like he was balanced when he was thinking about it. He made a deal, and this is interesting. So what's this card? This card came up before on several readings, and it's the card of disinformation, I call it. Okay, it came up for Trump. It came up for I forgot who else. A couple, two or three other people. Oh, Carter Page and someone else. So it's a card of like this is castles in the air, an illusion. Okay, this is like you have hopes, you don't know where you're going, but if it's turned upside down, it means that you're deliberately pushing these ideas that are not true. Okay, and this is a card of the dog, so it's showing that he's loyal to disinformation. Okay, and that if you combine the two together, he made a deal. He's loyal to this deal about disinformation. And this is I think this represents Trump. This is a crazy, like, crazy man, like bullish, like hello, who it is. And this is a star, so to spread. So if I go back and read again, so it's like he made a deal, a commitment to be loyal to disinformation in order to spread, because this is a card, the last reading this came up, in order to spread the reputation of the crazy man. Okay, so like, it's almost like, how will history remember him is like this, right? So it's like he was loyal to a deal, probably with the foreign government, to spread disinformation and create the environment that would enable the rise of the crazy man. Okay, so that's that. That's Robert Mercer for you guys. And I hope it's not like, I didn't want to go into like too many technical details or why I know this or why I'm interested in whatever. And you of course have to take it with a grain of salt, but that's what it looks like to me, right? Like that he really was the key to the hate speech situation. And I'm trying to find, because I'm looking here and I'm thinking, okay, what problem does he have? Because if I look at the reading itself, like in terms of legal consequences, I don't feel like it's super, like it's like terrible, like in the sense of like like I've seen for a lot of the other people. It's just, this is just telling me it's almost like an ideological battle. Okay, like that the case against him is not, yes, it's going to be approached through a financial perspective, but ultimately, um, it's about this like connection in the social media to the goals that they all have together. You know, the kind of turning upside down family values. And like what I find kind of interesting about this is that in the near future, the judgment comes and an ending. So I don't know, like I feel like whatever bad things happen either have already happened, like the bankruptcy, or they're going to happen really soon. But that's really not the point, because I feel like he's like, again, he's like 80 years old or whatever. Like it's not like, you know, he's gonna go to prison. I don't think he's gonna like, is he gonna go to prison? Like I don't know, but I feel like everything, the honesty, like is laid bare here. He in the end, I feel like he is honest, and he talks about it, like what he's done. But his role is not, like I said, is not that he got into it because obviously he already has money, right? And a lot of the people involved, even Trump, like in the Russia investigation, their only agenda is money. Like they don't care about anything else. That's all they're doing. But I feel like him, he has this like entire um, army, I guess, at his disposal, and his goal is much more ideological than it is financial. Although you could say, well, he obviously doesn't want to pay taxes. His problems with the IRS, yes, it's true. But I feel like that is more of a consequence of his like social, you know, being so sorry, being a sociopath, right? Like he like he just doesn't want to pay taxes, but it's not. He's not doing this for money. He already has money, right? He's almost like he's actually losing money by doing this, if you think about it, because he's like spent a lot of money on these people. But it's more like he, you know, the first thing that we have is like turning the family values upside down. It's going to be a long road, and everything that happens towards the end, like, is a consequence of him pursuing this goal, right? Like changing the value system. So I just thought it was like really interesting. There's just very little discussion about like his legal status. It just looks like he's going to lose money. It's going to be pretty fast, it's pretty soon that the judgment's going to come for him. But it just tells the story of his role in this kind of like in this election, and what he probably has done. I feel weird after this reading because it's like so much information, and like obviously again, like I said, this is not truth, and of course everything that I say is based on how and somehow the information that I know, or like how I see the world to a degree. So I can't not bring in the things I know technically about some of the things that Robert Mercer is involved in. But I just wanted to like share with everybody. Okay. And I hope that made sense for you. Okay, thanks for watching again.